Here's what I'm doing with the vertical stabs. In order to fly Thursday, I didn't have time to cut tools and fixtures for this drilling, so I went the quick route. Here, I'll start over here. Here's what I made for the drilling. So I took the angle off the trailing edge required. I marked it on here, and I figured out the bolt where I wanted the screws. And then I drilled 2 holes in this plate, so it does left and right. And so I just taped the back edge of this plate where I want it. Tape it tight to the trailing edge, and then make sure that this is level, so it's plumb. The plane's sitting on the bench. It was sitting totally flat. Drilled the 2 holes, and then I put some screws up through the bottom, screwed the little, I had to take these down a bit for them to fit in between there, but screwed those on. I'm gonna, just to check everything, I got these fitting over them, and then I taped this off so epoxy doesn't stick to it, and I'm going to wax up. I have some flathead screws. They'll be here in the morning, but until then, I'm just using these to get the job done. So a couple of these coming up from the bottom. These will get screwed down, so they'll be sticking up off of the flash tape here. So here was the test fit with the screws and the bushings there, and I had to sand them up a bit to get them to fit. I'll fill that with wax, that little hole, and I'll clean those with acetone. So I took some flash tape, I stuck it down, I cleared out the holes, then I waxed that surface to kind of get waxed down into where the screws go through the wing. So I'm just gonna fill the leading edge up, and then that way I can at least sand a little bit of a radius on the leading edge. And then on the bottom, I've bond prepped the outside edge and masked off so I could do a fillet. And then that gets all potted in with epoxy inside there. So once it's on here and it's sitting on the pins, I'll tape it down so it's really tight and make sure it's totally plumb and exactly where I want it. And then I'll just go around and do a fillet on the lower bottom edge, and then let it cure overnight. And then I can pop it off, pull the screws out, pop this off, clean it up, and they should be able to bolt on. And then these are a little bit small, so I'm gonna make like a 1-inch extension or something that comes off the back of these, 1.5 inches, whatever, and then I'll tape them really good for the first flight. Tape them nice, that way I can fly with them, and then if it all goes well, I'll unmask and take off the back and just fly with this. And if it flies really well with just these, then I might just take one of them off, see how that goes before taking both of them off. That way I don't have to make more than one set of these, because I don't have time to do all that before Thursday. So I'll have one good set that's potted onto the wing. They're only an 1/8 inch wide, so that's why I want these fillets. I gave it a little bit extra room here so I can kind of broaden it out and make it, it might end up being like, 10 millimeters or 3/8 wide at the base where it sits on the wing, because I just want some stability there. So that's what's happening. I keep a few different types of Q-tips around for various tasks, and I really like these little sharp pointed ones for just some detail stuff. They really come in handy. You can see here, they fit nicely up against those small little pins. So I was able to use those with some acetone to clean those up. That flash tape was put down. I cleared the tape away from the holes with an X-Acto knife, and then I waxed that whole surface And then I cleaned, and then I packed some wax into the top of these threaded inserts so epoxy doesn't get down into the threads, and then clean that up with acetone with these little Q-tips. So here's what it's looking like for the overnight cure. Just kind of piled up some epoxy in the leading edge of it and kind of smoothed it, and put some fillets down at the bottom, and I just got it kind of taped up there, letting it cure. Got the fillets in there. It shouldn't take too much sanding to clean these up, and then I'm probably going to spray them with some spray paint or something white, so I can see them better. But yeah, not too shabby.